Henry Winkler, the legendary actor who worked with Heather on Happy Days, shocked the public with comments in 1988, shortly after her death.
In the wake of Heather O'Rourke's tragic passing in 1988, Hollywood was left grappling with more than just the loss of a bright young star. When Henry Winkler stepped forward at an industry event, his words shocked the entertainment community. The beloved Happy Days star's allegations about behind-the-scenes events painted a disturbing picture of a child actor's life cut short. But what really happened during those years when Heather's crystal blue eyes and unforgettable smile lit up screens across America? The truth, as it often does, lies somewhere between the whispered rumors and documented reality. Hollywood's rising star. In the spring of 1981, Steven Spielberg's routine lunch at MGM Studios commissary turned into a moment that would change Hollywood forever. There, amid the clatter of cafeteria trays and industry chatter, sat 6-year-old Heather O'Rourke quietly eating a grilled cheese sandwich while waiting for her sister Tammy to finish filming a commercial. Her crystal blue eyes and platinum blonde hair caught Spielberg's attention, but it was her composed demeanor that made him pause. Unlike most children her age fidgeting in the bustling studio environment, Heather sat with a natural poise that seemed almost otherworldly. Within 24 hours of that chance encounter, Heather was already reading lines in Spielberg's office. The young girl's ability to take direction impressed everyone present, especially her knack for maintaining genuine reactions even after multiple takes. Her instinctive understanding of emotional beats during the audition led to her immediate casting as Carol Ann Freeling in Poltergeist, beating out more than 500 other young actresses who had formally auditioned for the role. On the Poltergeist set, Heather's natural talent quickly became apparent. Her delivery of the now iconic line, "They're here," wasn't just a lucky take. It came after she suggested delivering it in a sing-song voice rather than the frightened tone initially scripted. This creative choice, made by a 6-year-old newcomer, would later be credited by Spielberg himself as the element that transformed a simple horror movie moment into a cultural touchstone. The film's success catapulted Heather into unprecedented territory for a child actor. By 1982, her face appeared on everything from lunchboxes to television commercials. She became one of the youngest performers to secure a multi-picture contract with MGM, commanding over $50,000 per episode for her recurring role in Happy Days. Her appearances on the show quickly became fan favorites, with her chemistry with Henry Winkler's Fonzie character generating some of the highest ratings of the later seasons. Between takes at MGM, Heather would often sit with the camera operators, persistently asking questions about lens choices and framing. This technical curiosity set her apart from other child actors, earning her the nickname Little Director among crew members. During one memorable day on set, she even helped solve a lighting issue by suggesting a simple adjustment to her positioning, a moment that veteran cinematographer Andrew Laszlo would later reference in his memoir about working with child actors. But beneath the bright lights and behind the accolades, something else was brewing on those studio lots. Henry Winkler, who worked closely with Heather during her Happy Days appearances, began noticing patterns that troubled him. While the young actress maintained her professional demeanor and infectious smile on camera, her time between scenes would sometimes reveal a different story. What exactly was happening during those long hours in the producer's office that had Winkler so concerned? The shadows behind success. During a charity event at the Beverly Hills Hotel in 1989, Henry Winkler's impromptu speech about child actors took an unexpected turn. Standing before a room of industry elites, the beloved actor's voice trembled as he shared his observations about Heather O'Rourke's time on the Happy Days set. He spoke of lengthy rehearsal sessions in the producer's office that often left the young actress subdued and withdrawn. According to Winkler, these meetings could stretch for up to 3 hours, far beyond standard practice for child performers. Winkler's concerns weren't just about time. He detailed a troubling pattern of behavioral changes. After these sessions, Heather would sometimes return to the set, displaying uncharacteristic anxiety, forgetting lines she had previously mastered. The veteran actor noted how she would occasionally flinch during routine blocking rehearsals, a stark contrast to her typically confident demeanor. While directing several episodes, Winkler observed what he described as unnecessary script consultations that excluded Heather's on-set guardian, a direct violation of industry protocols established after the Jackie Coogan Act. The production logs from this period reveal curious discrepancies. While official timesheets showed standard 8-hour workdays, security gate records indicated Heather's studio car often remained on the lot for 11 to 12 hours. Marion Ramsey, a security guard at Gate B during this period, would later corroborate these extended stays in her personal memoir about working at Paramount Studios. These inconsistencies caught the attention of California Labor Board investigator Thomas Martinez, though no formal investigation was ever launched. Cast member Don Most, who played Ralph Malph on Happy Days, recalled an incident where Heather appeared visibly distressed after one such meeting. When he offered to call her mother, she quickly composed herself and insisted everything was fine. Most would later tell fan magazine Television Memories that this moment haunted him for years, making him question whether he should have pushed harder for answers. The studio's official response to these allegations remained carefully neutral. A spokesperson for Paramount issued a statement in 1992 emphasizing their strict adherence to child labor laws and pointing to their record of protective measures for young performers. They highlighted the presence of on-set teachers, limited working hours, and mandatory breaks. However, they notably failed to address Winkler's specific claims about the private rehearsal sessions. Anita Morris, Heather's on-set tutor during the Happy Days period, maintained detailed logs of the young actress's daily schedule. These records show concerning gaps, often labeled simply as production meetings, that coincided with the times Winkler referenced. Morris would later express regret at not questioning these interruptions more thoroughly, though she noted her limited authority to challenge production decisions. The pressures on young Heather extended beyond these mysterious meetings. Script supervisor Janet Harrison documented instances where the young actress was asked to perform up to 25 takes of emotionally demanding scenes, far exceeding the typical limit for child performers. Producer Gary Marshall's personal diary, released as part of his autobiography, reveals his own misgivings about certain production practices, though he never explicitly connected these to Heather's situation. Documents from the Screen Actors Guild from this period show a spike in complaints about child actor treatment, though most were filed anonymously. 3 of these complaints specifically referenced practices at Paramount Studios where Happy Days filmed, though names were redacted in the public records. SAG's subsequent revision of child actor guidelines in 1987 included stricter rules about private meetings and rehearsal sessions, changes that many industry insiders attributed to Winkler's behind-the-scenes advocacy. But as troubling as these shadows from the past may seem, they tell only part of the story. What was daily life really like for young Heather when the cameras were rolling, and how did she manage to maintain that infectious smile that captured America's heart?
Life between takes. Despite the concerns swirling behind the scenes, daily life on set for Heather O'Rourke painted a markedly different picture through the eyes of her fellow cast members. Jo Beth Williams, who played Heather's mother in Poltergeist, kept a detailed production diary that revealed touching moments between scenes. In one entry from October 1981, she described how Heather transformed her small trailer into an impromptu classroom for her Cabbage Patch dolls, meticulously writing out math problems on a tiny chalkboard her father had installed. Craig T. Nelson, her on-screen father, developed a special ritual with the young actress. Before filming particularly intense scenes, they would play a game called Spot the Boom Mic, where Heather would try to identify all the technical equipment visible in their peripheral vision. This game, according to Nelson's 1995 interview with Film Comment, served a dual purpose. It both calmed her nerves and helped her develop an understanding of technical filmmaking aspects that would later fuel her directing ambitions. Oliver Robbins, who played her brother Robbie in Poltergeist, shared a unique bond with Heather during production. Between takes, they would collaborate on elaborate comic book stories, with Heather crafting intricate backstories for their characters while Oliver handled the illustrations. Several of these comics, preserved by the Robbins family, showcase Heather's early storytelling abilities, complete with detailed character arcs and plot twists that belied her young age. On the Happy Days set, Heather's presence brought new energy to the aging show.
Property master David Phillips documented how she reorganized the prop room during breaks, creating detailed inventory systems that the crew continued using long after her episodes wrapped. She labeled each shelf with color-coded cards, a system she learned from her elementary school librarian, Mrs. Beckman, whom she frequently credited for her organizational skills. Makeup artist Charlene Roberson noted in her professional logbook how Heather used their morning sessions to practice her French vocabulary. She would arrive each day with 3 new words to learn, writing them carefully on Post-it notes that soon wallpapered her makeup mirror. By the end of her run on Happy Days, that mirror had become known as Le Petit Dictionnaire among the crew members. Between scenes, Heather's on-set tutor, Margaret Chin, observed her unique approach to schoolwork. Rather than treating it as a chore, Heather incorporated elements of whatever production she was working on into her assignments. While filming Poltergeist 3, she wrote a mathematics paper calculating the precise angles needed for the film's mirror effects, earning her not only an A+ but also praise from the special effects team, who later incorporated some of her observations. Even the sound technician kept a log of amusing moments that occurred during microphone checks. His notes describe how Heather would use these technical delays to practice tongue twisters in various accents, entertaining the crew with her spot-on impersonation of Katharine Hepburn, saying Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. This particular impression became so popular that director Gary Sherman worked it into a scene in Poltergeist 3, though it was ultimately cut from the final version. The craft services team maintained a special Heather menu that catered to both the young actress's tastes and nutritional needs. Gonzalez's recipe book from this period includes detailed notes about Heather's favorite between-scene snacks, including her signature Energy Stars, graham crackers decorated with cream cheese and fruit in celestial patterns that Heather would share with younger extras to help calm their nerves. Despite the long hours and demanding schedule, Heather found ways to make every moment on set count. Even during lighting changes, she would organize impromptu dance parties with the crew's children who occasionally visited the set. Second Assistant Director Marcus Thompson's production notes mention how these spontaneous celebrations became so popular that crew members would schedule their family visits around them. But while Heather's life on set seemed to sparkle with creativity and joy, what about her world beyond the studio gates? How did a rising star manage to maintain any semblance of normalcy while living in a modest trailer park far from Hollywood's glittering facade? A normal life beyond the spotlight. Away from the glittering world of Hollywood sets, Heather O'Rourke's life painted a starkly different picture. The family's modest home in a San Diego trailer park stood in sharp contrast to the mansions and luxury apartments typically associated with Hollywood success. Yet within these humble surroundings, the O'Rourkes created a warm and loving environment that kept Heather firmly grounded in reality. Inside their trailer, Heather shared a small bedroom with her sister Tammy, where they made the most of their limited space. The sisters arranged their beds in an L shape to maximize floor space, transforming their corner of the world into a creative haven. The walls told their own story, decorated with carefully chosen posters of their favorite bands and personal artwork they created together. Despite the tight quarters, the sisters found endless ways to make their shared space feel fresh and exciting through regular furniture rearrangements and creative decorating. The trailer park community itself became an unexpected source of stability in Heather's life. Here, she wasn't Carol Ann from Poltergeist or the girl from the television commercials. She was simply Heather, another kid riding her bike along the narrow paths between trailers, joining impromptu games with neighborhood children, and experiencing the simple joys of a normal childhood. These ordinary experiences provided a crucial counterbalance to the extraordinary world she inhabited during filming. Between her Hollywood commitments, Heather maintained a regular school schedule, with her mother insisting on the importance of education. She approached her studies with the same dedication she brought to her acting, working with on-set tutors during productions and attending regular classes when not filming. Her early model computer, a treasured possession, became both an educational tool and creative outlet. She would spend hours typing stories that ranged from fantastical adventures to slice-of-life tales about everyday experiences. The family's commitment to normalcy extended to their daily routines. Despite Heather's growing fame, they maintained regular family dinners, homework sessions, and ordinary household chores. Her mother carefully balanced Heather's professional obligations with typical childhood activities, ensuring that her daughter's success in Hollywood never overshadowed her need for a normal upbringing. What emerged from this dual existence was a remarkably well-adjusted young girl who could transition seamlessly between movie sets and playground games. But beneath this carefully maintained balance, Heather's short life would come to a tragic end. The final chapter. In the months leading to January 1988, Heather O'Rourke had been hard at work on Poltergeist 3 in Chicago. Despite battling what doctors initially diagnosed as Crohn's disease throughout the film's production, she maintained her characteristic professionalism. Director Gary Sherman later recalled how she never complained during the challenging shoot, even while dealing with symptoms that would have sidelined most adult performers. During the winter of 1987, Heather's health began showing subtle warning signs. Dr. Arthur Bell, her primary physician in San Diego, noted increased frequency of stomach pains, though these were initially attributed to her previously diagnosed condition. Her mother, Kathleen, kept detailed records of these episodes, documenting how Heather would bounce back after each bout, maintaining her cheerful demeanor despite the discomfort. On January 30th, 1988, Heather attended a celebrity charity event in San Diego showing no obvious signs of distress. Photographs from that evening show her smiling and energetic, posing with fans and signing autographs. However, within 48 hours, her condition would take a devastating turn. The morning of February 1st began with Heather experiencing acute abdominal pain, far more severe than her previous episodes. At approximately 5:30 in the morning, she woke her mother, complaining of intense stomach cramps and visible swelling in her abdomen. Kathleen, recognizing this pain was different from previous occurrences, immediately made the decision to seek emergency care. By 6:15 that morning, they arrived at Children's Hospital of San Diego. The emergency room staff, led by Dr. Samuel Morrison, quickly recognized the severity of Heather's condition. Initial examinations revealed signs of intestinal stenosis, a congenital narrowing of the intestine that had gone undetected despite her previous medical evaluations. This condition had created a bowel obstruction, leading to the rapid onset of septic shock.
The hospital records detail a swift response from the medical team. By 7:30, specialists were called in, including pediatric surgeon Dr. Elizabeth Chin, who identified the need for immediate surgical intervention. The operating room was prepared while the team worked to stabilize Heather's condition. Her medical chart shows that her blood pressure had become dangerously unstable, a clear sign of advancing septic shock. Surgery began at 9:45 that morning. The surgical team discovered that years of intestinal stenosis had created complications far more severe than initially suspected. Despite the medical team's extensive efforts, including multiple blood transfusions and aggressive antibiotic therapy, Heather's condition continued to deteriorate. The surgery revealed extensive damage that had occurred over years, with her congenital condition masking itself behind symptoms that mimicked other, less severe intestinal disorders. Throughout the morning and early afternoon, doctors worked tirelessly to save her life. The surgical team made several attempts to repair the intestinal damage while simultaneously fighting the effects of septic shock. Hospital records indicate that by 1:30 in the afternoon, despite receiving maximum medical intervention, Heather's vital signs began showing signs of severe systemic failure. At 2:43 in the afternoon of February 1st, 1988, Heather O'Rourke passed away in the intensive care unit of Children's Hospital. She was 12 years old. The official cause of death was listed as septic shock brought on by congenital stenosis of the intestine. The condition had been present since birth but had gone undetected, its symptoms masked by misdiagnosis and the young actress's remarkable ability to maintain her energy and spirit despite chronic health challenges. The medical examiner's report would later reveal that Heather's condition was extremely rare, particularly in its presentation. The stenosis had developed in a way that made traditional diagnosis difficult, with symptoms that often mimicked more common and less severe digestive issues. This understanding would later contribute to changes in pediatric diagnostic protocols, particularly in cases involving chronic digestive complaints in young patients. In her final hours, hospital staff noted that Heather remained brave and cooperative despite her obvious distress. The nursing logs mention her concern for her mother's worry, a testament to her compassionate nature even in the midst of her own crisis. Her last conscious words, recorded by the attending nurse, were reportedly asking if she would still be able to attend an upcoming script reading she had been excited about. As news of Heather's passing began to spread through Hollywood, how would the industry respond to losing one of its brightest young stars? And more importantly, how would those closest to her work to protect and preserve her true legacy? Setting the record straight. In the days following Heather O'Rourke's passing, Hollywood grappled with the loss in various ways. Steven Spielberg, who had discovered her in MGM's commissary years earlier, issued a heartfelt statement describing her as an extraordinary young talent and an even more extraordinary human being. The director, who had maintained a mentoring relationship with Heather throughout her career, canceled several scheduled appearances to attend her funeral service in San Diego. The Poltergeist 3 production team faced a difficult decision. The film, which would be Heather's final screen appearance, was nearly complete, but required several dialogue replacement sessions. Director Gary Sherman initially refused to release the film, feeling it would be disrespectful to the young actress's memory. However, after consulting with the O'Rourke family, the decision was made to complete and release the film with a touching dedication to Heather's memory. Jo Beth Williams, speaking at a Screen Actors Guild event in late 1988, shared insights about Heather's lasting impact on the industry. She revealed how Heather's approach to balancing childhood and acting career had influenced new guild guidelines for child performers. These guidelines, implemented in 1989, included more stringent requirements for on-set education and mandatory rest periods. Craig T. Nelson worked with the Young Performers Union to establish the Heather O'Rourke Memorial Fund, which provided support for health screenings for child actors. The initiative, launched in 1990, specifically focused on comprehensive medical evaluations that might identify conditions similar to the one that claimed Heather's life. The fan community's response was equally significant. The first Heather O'Rourke Memorial Fan Convention, held in San Diego in 1991, brought together hundreds of supporters who shared memories and celebrated her life. The event, which became an annual tradition, raised funds for children's medical research. Within the industry, Heather's passing sparked important conversations about child actor health monitoring. SAG-AFTRA revised its requirements for production companies, mandating more frequent medical checkups and stricter oversight of working conditions for young performers. These changes, while too late for Heather, would go on to protect countless other child actors in the industry. Today, we've uncovered the complex truth behind Heather O'Rourke's story, from her magical discovery at MGM to her final days. While Henry Winkler's concerns sparked important conversations about child actor protection, Heather's true legacy lies in the changes she inspired, both in Hollywood and medicine. Her journey reminds us that sometimes the brightest stars leave us with more than just memories. They leave us with lasting change. What's your favorite memory of Heather O'Rourke's performances? Share in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories. See you in the next video.